Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another week. This video, we're going to see 3 elements connected to discernment. One more simple example and layer of discernment. One more complex example. And I'm going to take the chance to share a personal practice that I use, still to do with discernment, applied to what do I do when I channel messages, so as a channeler. One more simple layer, an example of discernment, is still connected to being able to come back to the center. So it is a constant dance of our awareness going from inside outside, but also from outside inside. For example, if we are speaking certain words, or we are listening or receiving a message that is an element that is coming from the outside towards us, we are taking that in. How do we know if that is right? It is very commonly said that does it feels right? Does it sound right to you? Does it make sense that it feels right? Let's remember the heart, this amazing, much underrated tool that we have, part of the human body technology, is the center of discernment. The heart is the discernment center. And so we shall use it in a better way. And many already do so, whether they understand it or not. It is for many the center of the intuition. Many rely on that intuition also on the gut, on the throat chakra. We all have these centers, although some people may leverage more one than the other. It remains that the heart is the discernment center. Some of you are more used to feel it's like it's the gut that would give you the sense. Even if it's the heart or the gut or another center, how do you know? When something aligns, when something is aligned with the truth or your own truth, normally there is that sense of expansion, of feeling at ease, of feeling things flow. But expansion is the number one pattern, the number one element that you're looking for. Oppositely, if you feel constriction, it could be yourself like shrinking on your skin. It could be the heart. It could be like that inner sense that something is, this sounds right, but there's something that is not quite there. Sometimes it's very obvious. You receive a message or you see a person and everything seems, looks and feels off. And your inner sensation would just validate that. So do you see that is that constant dance between receiving the stimuli from outside and being able to come back from within to do that check and use it also out as a tool to navigate whether you can trust or not, whether you are interacting with someone that you wish to follow more, or whether you're listening to a message that could apply for you or not. This could also apply, this simple discernment layer of expansion constriction. When you receive a message, can also be someone is giving you an advice. How do you know if that could be right or not for you? Bring that awareness, bring that signal within, sit with it and check. What emotions do you have? If you ask your own heart, if you ask your own soul, is this aligned to my truth? Is this right for me? And be able, it's a skill that you develop. So do not expect to have miraculous results just with one attempt. It's a skill you need to practice. It's like when you go to the gym and you learn to do a squat, or you learn to run or do any other exercise. It's a skill you need to learn how to get better and better. Learn to observe. What do you feel moving? What changes do you observe? And you will find that sensation of expansion or constriction. Easily you can render that expansion for yes and constriction for no, not good for you. So let's see example layer of discernment number 2. This is so fascinating. Like we're getting into the nitty-gritty of the fine lines of distinguishing several layers, because everything comes in layers. And this is also where hypnosis, neuro-linguistic programming, just energy, charisma, anything that could seek to be persuasive, seducing, enticing, just magnetizing with so much energy could very much play its role. As a matter of fact, communication is a skill. Not just communication, but the energy field around that one can create. So oftentimes it's not as straightforward to understand or distinguish if you can trust something or not. Many figures, including people in your community or world-renowned public figures, huge number of following. So the layer that is a bit more complex and advanced in discernment is, are you buying into what they say because it's aligned to your own truth? Or are you buying into the persuasive techniques or the marketing, the way they present, that it's so solid, it's so enticing, it's so well presented, that whether they say something that is true or not, whether they say something that truly aligns with you or not, doesn't really make the difference because you already bought in. You already bought into their presentation and the message. And also, with that, do you buy into the level of their confidence? Or is it the message behind it? Distinction in the distinction. There are people that would make a conscious manipulation, or let's say, for example, they are driven by the money, they are driven by self-power, anything that has to do with a self-interest, getting a return just for the self. That purity of the heart, that sense of really, the ego has nothing to do here. The ego is serving, is still to drive the human experience, but it's not about validating the ego. It's still about giving back to the people. And yes, of course, if there are services or a product or shared knowledge, it is fair that there is a price exchange, but it really, at the source of the intention, what is there? Is that something pure and genuine, or is it some for a personal return just for the ego? What does come first? In some people, this is more clear than not. So there are some that, if you know them behind the scenes, they're very self-centered. Although when they project the message out to the masses, that comes with that magnetism, which is studied and practiced communication skills, combined with good presentation, combined with the marketing. And now it sounds so convincing that it's easy to feel drawn in. And they may know all the psychological tactics within visual, sound, words, hooks that are used. On top of that, you may feel the pull of the energy. And again, is that the confidence? Is that the certainty? Belief and certainty go together. The power of intention. So that if they truly believe something that they are saying and conveying to you, it might be that level of certainty that produces an energy resonance, and that is what you feel gravitating towards. But is that true or is that not? That information that they're passing on, is that the truth or is that not? Obviously, you've got the free will, so sometimes it's like, look, I can afford it. I just want to live the experience of trying and see how am I expanded. How can I improve my current situation if I go ahead and do that course, or if I do that session, or join this group? Go ahead. This is also the part of the beautiful free will experience that we have on earth. It's all about the learning. It's all about the expansion. But it may be handy for you to just be aware of these different elements that you can peel off layer by layer and being able to discern. So continue with that dance of going outward and inward and check that message. Be able to see beyond the level of certainty or confidence that one person may put out to people, and go back to your own center. Do not ask anyone else's opinion. Just ask to your own heart. Ask to your own soul. This is a process that cannot be rushed, especially at the beginning. Like in the example of having to develop a muscle or a technique for exercise. It may take you a moment before to be able to attune with the heart and really understand. There are so many other layers to this. I was having this conversation we got the other day in a channel message, and the validation was always, this is not new to you. You are given what you can carry. And you will look around in life and you will see those people that have it easier, and you will see the ones that very tough challenges. So remember, situations are given to you for a reason. Yes, sometimes you draw them to you even without knowing, but you are given what you have capacity for. So opportunity for self-reflection and conversation with the universe in that sense. Back to the discernment. So you would have those people that they sort of know they are ego-driven, but they came out with that level of confidence and beauty and well presentation that it's easy to buy into. You have the free will to do it. You may want to appreciate, how do you discern? How can you check ahead before to making that discovery later on. So just learn to cross-check with yourself and your discernment center before to make any decision if to buy into a message or a personality or a group or not. With this second layer of more complex discernment, another scenario. The person is a genuine person, however, it's just the level of confidence. They are so certain about something that may be revealed later on is not actually it. And they are sort of selling or presenting that concept, that idea, that system, that product, that coaching to you. They sound certain. So they are so invested, they believe that's the truth. That when they speak, when they advertise that, again, it sounds certain. It's like rock solid, like a table, like an object that you can touch. And so it may be very easy to buy into that. Now this is more subtle to be able to pick and distinguish. However, it's also a possibility. And so practicing that sitting with yourself and drawing the awareness inward, having a conversation, checking with your own discernment center, is this in the best interest for my best and highest good? Is this aligned with the solution to my problem? Is this aligned with the path that I wish to walk? You can ask those questions ahead. And that inner intelligence, the inner guidance that is guiding you would know better. Side disclaimer. When you receive a message, any message, whether it's intuition guiding you, source light guiding you, some of you have connections with higher collectives, could be angels, could be out of these realms and galaxy. Where you trust to welcome those messages, you always have the free will. So you can always decide to open the door or close the door. You can listen and then you can decide, okay, I'm still going to go this way because as a human I want to experience this. Or I'm actually taking this on. And you will see throughout life, like time, the linear time that we use on earth, will speak over time and will help us to see if that was the right choice or not. Ultimately, it was always an experience. There is always something to learn out of it. Third and last, a discernment practice that I use specifically during channeling. So when I channel, I am present as a channel. As a matter of fact, I don't use the word trance as trance. I use the word trance as trance, through, channeling through. I'm open, like I need to be very good. You know, like when you've got the radio and you try to tune in to get to a certain radio station, and if you move it slightly, now you pick another song, and if you go back, there is that reattunement, bit of noise, and then you come back to the initial source frequency of message or song that you wanted to channel. It works a little bit like that. And I like to give people tools on how to understand how does it work behind the scenes, so you can also understand it. Channeling can not only be processed through the logical mind, there is so much more, but at least to give you the tools, because we do not need to get rid of logical mind or the skepticism. Actually, the opposite is true. It's just the ability to learn how to blend them, to have them work together and serve you both. So you would have the intuition, your soul guidance, together with your free will and your mind, and let them co-pilot together to co-create a beautiful life. So when I do channel, I need to come back to that, between parentheses, disclaimer that I made earlier. Different people are set to experience different themes in life. So there are some, I'm going to stay specific to the niche of the channeler, psychic mediums. There are some that only experience the good in this life. As soon as there is an energy intrusion, a negative event, they've got their own guide, angels, archangels, teams coming in and blocking them for them. Blessings. This is so beautiful. This is very, very cool. Others, the warriors. There are so many reasons why you may have a different experience. And sometimes it's you having to take responsibility of things and stuff, dynamics in general, that you may have action in this lifetime. Sometimes you're paying off for things done in other lifetimes that you need to remember. All is so connected together. Let it alone that everything happens at the same time. So if you're given toughest challenges, there might be a reason also for that. Develop your own way of coping and distinguishing, discerning what you want to welcome in and what not, and learn also to reclaim your power, your voice in sending off whichever energy, frequency, person, vibration, opportunity that does not align with who you really want to be. And if you decide to walk a path in light, in pure light, then as well, you carry on a responsibility. You want to really be observant of what is going to align to that choice and what you need to let go. So when I channel, the skill that I practice is like an antivirus that goes on non-stop, goes on all the time. Every breath, so I'm attuned to the channel, every breath I take, every sentence that goes out, I need to return to that center. There is also another consideration of the frequency. This was explained in previous channeling. Like physical vessel, my own frequency may be at a level, and they may rise or lower depending on the clothes that I wear, the food that I eat, the thoughts, the emotion that I'm entertaining, the environment, the location, the physical location where I'm at. And then there is the frequency, which is much, much higher, whether it's from mediumship, whether it's from, could be Pleiadians, Ashtar Command, it could be Galactic Council, God, Source, Father. Frequencies are very different. And so, say for in the moment where I channel, I'm also left to be the interpreter, the connector, to participate, to extrapolate information, to ask questions back. As everything is present in the moment, I would tune in also in questions that would come from the public. And so ask that. So the information can be digested, they can be extrapolated. It's even harder when this comes together with light language, but this is another story. So every time that the information comes forth, in these several elements to manage all at the same time, including the frequencies, because if I'm just passing on a message, then I'm attuned to higher frequency, and if I need to come back to ask a question from my perspective, then it's a lower frequency, and so that there is continuous dance in between. But you see, this is also very important. Back in the day, many people would just go knock out completely, I don't remember what I channel, and something would come through. That is not wrong, it's a different way of doing that. When you open the door beyond the veil, so much can come. It is not so much to be given for granted that only pure light may come. The opposite polarity has its tool as well. So again, how do you practice the discernment? And in this lifetime, I am present when I do channel. I choose to be present, but I'm left present. It's a co-creation. It's a knowing. They do want me to be present when I do channel, and it's a co-creation together, even in rendering information to the public. But the discernment practice, like that antivirus that is constantly present, is going back to the center, is going back to the heart. And when there is an information, you take a breath. I need to come back to the center. I need to come back to the unity. Now you may want to call it God, light, a neutral center, with observation, with non-judgment, with no expectation, with no need to validate the self, with no need to prove anything to anyone, with no need to make excuses or justification. It's just that breath, that in-breath and out-breath, the inward and the outward expansion of the unity with creation itself. And in every breath, that is where I come back to. And if something feels slightly off, then is where I would pause, take a moment, telepathically, or I can speak loud, I can keep it to myself. I would make that check. Is this in light? Is my heart aligned to this message? And when I'm on camera, there was one time when they called me, like in the exercise, like they tested me live through a recording, and I've paused the video and I've stopped the channel. And that was the point of the demonstration. For everyone that is channeling or receiving message, I get there can be a big excitement. You do want to pass the message out. There is this beautiful excitement of connecting with things beyond the veil. Stand guard, dear ones, at the door of your purity and your heart, and really distinguish what's coming on. Because I can tell you, some frequencies, some energies, some collectives may sound really convincing, very wise, although the alignment is not so much with purity. So remember, you've got the power, you've got the free will to open or close that door. I'm not saying this to frighten you or concern you, but let's not be naive here. Everything exists. And as the light and the consciousness beautifully expands, it makes sense, also the rest is going to be expanded. So let's buckle up and just refine our tools. refine your tools in whichever thing you do, especially if you do have an experience, if you look back at your life and you can see different teams where you needed to show up, you had things tough, you have been tested by source, you have been tested by a life. Just refine your tools. Whether you're protected or not is always great to know. Because even just with AI, with the scams, with emails, messages, that discernment is always needed. It's not just for channelers, it's for everyone. So, on a frequent basis, come back to the center and ask and check if something aligns or not. To wrap up, I'm going to go even more specific with this. And I know this is very advanced. Let me give you a description of what does it mean to go in and check with the heart. So sometimes it's like you also need to go in and find the location, the energetic center location of the heart. And whether that is expanding or not. Sometimes I would receive, I'm giving you my own experience, sometimes I would receive that sense, because it's learning, right? Like what wants to support you, but even what wants to deceive you is learning from what you do. So also that requires continued growing and expansion. I would get this sense or message that may cause me to physically nudge forward, but I still need to go at the source and check if my heart is okay with that or if that is anything else influencing. Discernment layers can grow exponentially. So check in multiple ways. You don't want to just go briefly, quickly, a second, go in and out. Check. You have the right to pause. You have the right to check. And normally they said you want to check 3 times. Check for 3 yes. Go in, imagine taking a breath, going behind your brow to the center of your eyes, the third eye center, and imagine taking an elevator from that. And as you breathe, you may be with your eyes closed in this moment, just imagine that elevator passing through the back of your throat, your lungs, and landing just in front of your heart. And the door open and you land into your heart. And if you're able to connect with that location within yourself of your heart, check from that. What do you feel? And use that as the discernment center when you need to take any decision. Whether you're channeling, whether you just need to make a decision for your own self, for your children, for your career, for anything that you desire, for a relationship. And check. You can also ask, as we said at the beginning, what is better aligned for me? You need to be very specific when you ask the question. You may be at a level, but your desire to be at another level. And so if you ask for what aligns here, you're going to get solutions that are going to keep you on this timeline. If you wish you want to become better, then you need a level of advice that are going to align with that level, with that version of you. So ask with intention, ask from the heart, and ask and receive with discernment. I hope this was helpful. We're going to see more about discernment and other helpful tool in another time. I wish you a wonderful day from Sydney. Ciao.